Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down the NHL DFS slate for Wednesday, December 28th. And we got ourselves a 5-game slate here tonight where I'm going to go through a couple of my favorite line stacks, some of my favorite individual plays, and some of my favorite value plays, and then we'll wrap up the video talking a little prize picks. With that being said, let's dive into my spreadsheet here. And we're to kick things off here like we always do in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals, where you can see we got one of these games coming in with an implied total of 6.5 goals between the Red Wings and Penguins, and then the other 4 games all coming in at 6 goals even. And then take a look down here at the Vegas odds, where you can see each team who's favored to win tonight. With that being said, let's dive into a couple of line stacks that I like here for tonight, starting with that first line for the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is Brayden Point centering Brandon Hagel and Nikita Kucherov. Great matchup at home here tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning against Montreal Canadiens, who've allowed 3.47 goals per game this year, the 8th most in the NHL, with a very mediocre penalty kill that's hit at a 77.2% rate. And all 3 of these guys play up on that number 1 power play, making it a very strong correlated line stack, and they've been great at home all year long, having combined for 25 goals, 41 assists, 66 points in 17 home games, just shy of averaging 4 points per game. And then a cheaper line stack I like here tonight is that second line for the Seattle Kraken. We got Beniers centering McCann and Eberle. Now this line here has definitely had some highs and lows this year, but all 3 of these guys are very capable of having a multi-point game. Now Seattle does a very good job of splitting up their top 2 power plays, but if you look on paper right now, it says Beniers is playing up on the number 1 power play, McCann and Eberle playing down on the second, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 50-50 split here tonight. Needless to say, all 3 of these guys getting some time on the special team, so you do like to see that. And I don't mind the matchup here tonight at home against the Calgary Flames, who are playing on back-to-back nights after the holiday break. And that Flames penalty kill has really struggled here as of late too, just hitting at a 74% rate over their past 6 games. And the Flames have taken the 5th most minor penalties in the NHL this year. Now folks, before we dive into some of my favorite individual plays here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. I'm going to have hockey content coming out for you guys all year long. Alright, now diving into some of these individual plays here, we're going to kick it off with the forwards. First guy I got there is Sidney Crosby of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and boy was I wrong about that Penguins first line last night. Now I'm not trying to make excuses here on this video, but I actually had no idea that a lot of the away teams yesterday traveled the morning of to their game. That kind of throws off a lot of the routines for these players. Usually they get in the night before, have a full day wherever they're playing. That wasn't the case yesterday. That wasn't the case for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and it really showed on the ice. But the Penguins are back at home here tonight in a good matchup against the Detroit Red Wings, who started to slump prior to that holiday break. They were just 1-2-1 in their previous 4 games, allowing 4.5 goals per game, the most in the NHL during that stretch, with a penalty kill that hit at just a 75% rate. And it's not often Sid gets blanked on back-to-back nights, especially when playing at home. Pulling open his home splits from this year right now, where you can see he's racked up 13 goals, 11 assists, 24 points in 16 home games, averaging over 3 shots on net per game as well. Now, being that it is a 5-game slate here tonight, we are going to have some more popular targets like the Tampa Bay Lightning, for example. Might need to find some contrarian pairings or plays. A little pairing that I like on the contrarian side of things is Troy Terry and Trevor Zegras of the Anaheim Ducks, and they're pretty affordable here as well. Troy Terry has been someone that's floated in the 6K range and even the 7K range this year, so kind of getting him at a discount right now. Now, if we look at his past 10 games, it makes sense why his price has come down, but this is still a very talented player here, along with Trevor Zegras. Again, 2 guys who are capable of having a multi-point night, both play up on the first line and both play on the number 1 power play, catching a Vegas Golden Knights team at home here tonight, who are also playing on back-to-back nights after the holiday break. Let's pull open the home splits here for Terry and Zegras. You can see they played 14 games at home this year. Troy Terry, 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points. Zegras, 5 goals, 8 assists, 13 points himself, so both damn near averaging a point per game. But I do like the other side of that game as well in the Vegas Golden Knights, because that Anaheim Ducks team has struggled defensively all year long, gotten some really shaky goaltending. They've allowed 4.11 goals per game this year, the most in the NHL, with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 69.5% rate. That is the third worst in the NHL. And Stone here at $5,700, been playing some really solid hockey as of late, still up on that first line in number one power play. You can see in his past 10 games, he's racked up 6 goals, 4 assists, 10 points, while averaging around 3.5 shots on net per game. And then I got David Perron there of the Detroit Red Wings, sitting at a nice price of $5,000. Now, I mentioned this when I was talking about Crosby, that the Red Wings had slumped a little bit prior to the holiday break, and that was largely due to their defensive struggles and shaky goaltending. They were still averaging 3.5 goals per game themselves, and David Perron has played well on that first line with Dylan Larkin and plays on that number one power play. You can see here in his past 10 games, he's racked up 4 goals, 5 assists, 9 points. Would like him to shoot the puck a little bit more, but you can see he's very capable of having 4 or 5 shots on net in a game as well. And again, they are catching the Penguins here on back-to-back nights after the holiday break. That might be something that we target in general here, catching these teams a little more fatigued. Now, moving over here to the defensemen, and I have no issue spending up at this position here tonight. I'd pay up for Victor Hedman, Rasmus Andersson. I'd even be willing to pay up for Pietrangelo of the Vegas Golden Knights or Letang of the Pittsburgh Penguins. But I like this price here for Hedman at $6,000. He had a rough stretch there in November, got bumped down to the number 2 power play, but has been promoted back up to the number 1 power play here as of late. Again, I really like this matchup for them at home as well against the Montreal Canadiens. We could stack up Hedman with any one of those forwards that I highlighted earlier, being that all 4 of those guys play on the number 1 power play. Let's pull open his past 5 games here, which was basically when he got promoted to that number 1 power play again. You can see he's racked up 6 assists here in his past 5 games. I then got Rasmus Andersson there of the Calgary Flames, and I'm pretty much targeting him on the number 1 power play as well, because the Seattle Kraken's penalty kill has been abysmal all year long, just hitting at a 68.9% rate, the second worst in the NHL. Anderson's got 24 points in 36 games this year, with 10 of those points coming on the power play, but he just plays big minutes in general. Should log around 25-26 minutes here tonight, again on that number 1 power play, but plays on that penalty kill as well. I then got Vince Dunn there of the Seattle Kraken. Talked about this matchup earlier when I was highlighting that second line, catching the Calgary Flames at home here tonight, who are playing on back-to-back nights, and have a penalty kill that has started to slump as of late. Now, if I'm targeting or stacking up the power plays for the Seattle Kraken, I'm stacking up Dunn with McCann and Eberle, being that they play together on the second power play, and then I'm stacking up Matty Beniers with Justin Schultz, being that they play on the number 1 power play. But again, I'm using the quotations here because Seattle does a very good job of splitting up their top 2 power plays. Now, Vince Dunn here, 18 points in 32 games this year, with 7 of those points coming on the power play. And then I got Cam Fowler there of the Anaheim Ducks. He was up on the number 1 power play for the Ducks last game, but I wouldn't be surprised if they switch that to Shattenkirk and or Klingberg. Whoever it ends up being, all 3 of those guys are in the 3K range at the defenseman position, so I would play any one of those guys. And again, stacking them up with Troy Terry and Zegras on that number 1 power play, looking for a contrarian stack. And then I got a couple of goaltenders there for you. Honestly, I just prefer to spend up at this position here tonight. If we're looking to go the contrarian route, you probably go Ville Husso of the Detroit Red Wings. You could also go with Vitek Vanacek of the New Jersey Devils. I just really struggle to play a goaltender against that Boston Bruins team, but those would probably be my 2 cheaper goaltenders that I like. But like I said, I just prefer to spend up here for Andrei Vasilevskiy and or Linus Ullmark. I guess we could get Brian Elliott here tonight, being that the Tampa Bay Lightning do play tomorrow as well, so keep an eye out for that. But Vasi here has been really solid in his past 10 games. Lightning are massive home favorites here tonight. Vasi in his past 10 has a goals allowed average of 2.12 and a save percentage of .928. And then Linus Ullmark there, obviously he's been probably the best goaltender in the NHL this year. His numbers certainly suggest that. Really, the only downfall here with Ullmark is that the Bruins are playing on back-to-back nights after the holiday break, and both of those games are on the road. Outside of that, if we look at Allmark's numbers, he's just been ridiculously good this year with a 19-1-1 record, goals allowed average of 1.94, and a save percentage of .936. Just phenomenal numbers there. And as always, going to wrap up the spreadsheet here with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays, and actually quite like the 2 to 3K range here tonight at the forward position. A lot of value here in my opinion. Another one that I had on my radar was Michael Rasmussen of the Detroit Red Wings, who's currently playing up on the first line in #1 power play. I believe he's $3,700 here tonight. But got to talk about Michael Amadio here of the Vegas Golden Knights. Been playing some really good hockey up on the first line in #1 power play. Currently riding a 4-game point streak right now with 3 goals and 3 assists, and a great matchup to expand on that here tonight against the Anaheim Ducks. Next is Daniel Sprong of the Seattle Kraken. Now he plays down on the 4th line but plays up on the #1 power play, and that's primarily where I'm targeting him. He actually has 10 goals, 9 assists, 19 points through 25 games. Not bad at all for a guy priced here at $3,600, with 7 of those points coming on the power play. And then Ross Colton there of the Tampa Bay Lightning has been promoted up to the 2nd line with Nick Paul and Steven Stamkos, so I really like that considering the price. He also plays on the #2 power play. He's got 8 goals, 7 assists, 15 points through 31 games, but this is a guy who's got a tremendous shot and a great matchup at home here tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. And then to wrap up this video here, want to talk a little prize picks with you guys. Had ourselves a fantastic night last night. Ended up going 4-0 with the primary picks, 2-0 on the secondary picks, a clean 6-0 sweep. That's 25x value if you took all 6 picks. And for example, if you invested $100 on that, it returned you $2,500. Now, if you have not got involved with prize picks yet, but want to get in on this action, I got a promo code that you should definitely take advantage of. When you're signing up, use my promo code GRIFF. GRIFF, and Prize Picks will give you all the way up to a $100 match deposit. Now again, you do not have to put $100 in. You want to put in 50, they'll match that 50. You want to put in 20, they'll match that 20. They will match anything up to $100, again, as long as you're using my promo code GRIFF, GRIFF, upon signing up. Now, as I record here this morning, they only have props out for the shots on goal. Not entirely sure why that is, but you guys know my plan of attack anyway. I wait for all the picks to come out, I do my research individually, and then I let you know my final picks in a comment below on this video, and I'll be sure to pin that comment. And don't forget, I am posting those in my Discord channel too. For those of you who want to join that, there's a link to do so in the description below. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great day here, folks. Let's win some money on this 5-game slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.